In this lesson, I'll quickly introduce you to ACSS classes. Now, I know we've had a lot of setup so far, but along the way, you have learnt so much about how ACSS works and what it's doing in the background. Using classes is all going to be pretty easy now. Now, you've already seen how ACSS styles elements by default, so here we're going to move on to using its pre-built classes and then onto variables at the end. I just want to say up front that A, we're not going to be covering every single class ACSS has available. I'll explain what we're covering and why in a bit. And B, because this is all new to you, using ACSS classes will be slow going to start with. Please stick with it though. Pretty soon, after a bit of practice, you'll be ultra fast and it'll all be second nature to you. It didn't take me long at all to get very quick with it, and I was learning it all from scratch. You've got a big head start here. So it's worth a bit of slowing down now to reap the rewards very soon. Okay, let's get going. First, how do we know what classes we have available? Well, there are a couple of places to look. One is in the classes drop-down menu in the Bricks editor. All ACSS classes are loaded in here. For example, a few lessons back, remember we just typed grid, and that filtered down to all the grid-related classes. And if you have Plaster installed as well, then you get a preview on the canvas of what effect each class will have when you hover over it. The other way to see all the classes available is via the ACSS cheat sheet. This lists all the classes and variables here as well, and it's an enormous list. But you can search by name. You can also filter by category. So if you wanted all the grid classes, for example. And under that, you can even filter to show only classes or only variables. If you're wondering what Pro mode is, well, I actually use ACSS in Pro mode myself, but we're going to be looking at Pro mode later on. Let's leave it off for now while you're getting your head around things. You might also be wondering, wow, that's a hell of a lot of classes. How, in the name of Elvis Presley, am I going to know where to even begin? I thought the same too, but in practice, I found myself about 90% of the time using about 10% of all the possible classes and variables. So in this course, I'm going to cover the roughly 10% of classes you'll use roughly 90% of the time, the main important ones. They are classes for colors and buttons, which we'll cover in the next lesson, grids, which is the lesson after that, then spacing classes, and then text size and width classes. And what we're going to do is just build the rest of the page and we'll learn about these classes as we go along. So next, we'll carry on building the page using color and button classes. See you there next.